Welcome, patrons! A few weeks ago, the latest Dragon Age comic finished up, and with it came a pretty big clue. So I think it's about time I talked about Dragon Age Deception in full. And our new Lord and Savior, Autumn. Now, I will say that this is a direct sequel to Knight Errant, so if you haven't read that, this might not make a whole bunch of sense. Now, I do have a video going over the plot of that, but it's always better to read the source material and support the series you love. So, with that, let's go over Dragon Age Deception. Issue 1. We open up to what we will later learn is actually a flash forward. A blonde woman putting on a wig talking about how she was a small-time actress who hated the role she used to play. But now she makes her own roles, and this is a role of a lifetime. This is Olivia Pride, whose name we actually won't get to like the second issue, but this is her. And as a side note, can I just say I hate this wig. I just hate it. I hate it. She just looks so much better with the natural blonde hair she has. Anyway, she talks about the city of Canarius, or as is now known, Ventus, as rumor has it that Canary will attack soon and many are leaving or in denial about it. Now, there is a magister in the city named Kintara who hasn't been seen in years. His estate locked up and no one let inside, with rumors that he is involved in dark magic. But recently, his son just emerged from the estate. Olivia guesses that the young man locked away in an estate for so long won't really know how to deal with the world, and so she targets him. She carefully talks to chatty members, saying that she is a magister looking into the Kintara family for evidence of Venatori connections. She sees Dorian and recognizes that he would see through her instantly and so avoids him. But curious, she listens in and recognizes the man he's sitting with, Sir Aaron, who was a former mark of hers. A few years back, the two had a fling, and she developed feelings for him. But he is supposed to be in Ferelden. She goes to leave, but spots her mark talking to a young woman. She asks him to confirm that his name is Calyx Kintara, calling herself Magister Amaris. He claims to have heard of her, and that she is known for her mercy. He goes on to say that his father is ill, and if only she would help him get out of the country, he'll be able to liquidate the family holdings and pay her back with interest. But she knows the act and calls him out. He is a con artist. The con he is trying to pull is often referred to as the Chastened Prince, and is too well known to actually work. Calyx is confused, having not heard the name or knowing any Chastened Princes, and so he calls her out as well, saying that if she knows it, then she must be a fake magister. And here is where I have a major problem that I just have to go into right now. This doesn't make sense to me. Why couldn't a magister know about scams? That's a totally reasonable assumption to make. Hell, I know about multi-level marketing schemes and now how that's a scam, but I'm not trying to sell you oils. That doesn't make me a part of one of those. And then she just goes with it? She doesn't even try to defend her lie. That just doesn't sound like a good con artist to me. She doesn't seem like she's good at her trade. She sounds just as inexperienced. Honestly, this interaction kind of goes on to color the rest of the series for me. Calyx as a stupid young man, which he is supposed to be, and Olivia as really his not that much smarter guide. Anyway, he tells her that he will expose her if she exposes him. He says that now that they know of each other, they can go on their merry ways. He can get the money to escape the town, and she can do whatever she was doing. She then says that's impossible because she came to do him. Ooh, awkward. Whoops. She meant that he was her target. God, this is... I'm sorry, but this is terrible. I hate this line. She goes on to explain that she was spreading the word and that she was looking for him, and as they are now linked, she will have trouble switching targets. Calyx offers to work together, but she denies this, saying that he is a moron. Then she goes to talk with Dorian, and Calyx begins to think. Dorian finishes giving her directions, and Calyx goes to talk with him when Olivia leaves. He asks if Dorian will help him, and as Olivia watches through the window, Dorian tells the lad that he heard that he is part of the Kintara family and that he may have ties with the Venatori, and as Dorian is part of the Magisterium, he would probably have to look into those claims. When Calyx tries to save the scam, Dorian just tells him to run away. Outside the bar, Olivia approaches him, making fun of him, and then leaves. Owen talks to Calyx about why he is upset, and he tells her a sob story that he makes up about how Olivia ruined him. Later, she is approached by the woman and a few thugs, and she's angry about whatever Calyx said that she did to him, and the woman calls that the staff she has is fake, and Olivia tries to assure that her staff is real when it actually isn't. But either way, her Mabari is not. We cut to outside the city and the two Devender guards, or Venatori, it looks like Venatori outfits, but they're supposed to be guards. We'll talk about that later. Anyway, they find Trex and are killed by Canary. The Canary talk about how killing the guards will announce their presence, so they decide that they need to speed up the timetable. Cutting back to Calyx, he is surprised to see Olivia alive. She explains that this is all due to Autumn, her Mabari. Calyx asks what happens now, asking to work together with her again. And then they argue for a bit, and then she just brags about stealing the Arishok's genital piercings? What? What the fuck? What? Is this like a common saying in Thetis? I have so many questions about this line. Just is this just a lie? Because that's totally up her alley. Or did she what if she actually did steal the Arishok's genital piercings? How did she get that? Do people usually take out genital piercings regularly? Or did she have to go in there? No, I'm not. I want to think about. Also, which Arishok? But yeah, so they make a deal. First one to do a successful con wins and the loser leaves town. But yeah, here's my problem with it. Calyx wants to leave town. That's his goal. That's why he wants to scam. Because the Canary's about to attack. In fact, they probably both want to leave because of the oncoming Canary. What kind of deal is this? I have just as much questions about the Arishok genital piercings as I do with this one. They eventually decide that the winner had to get something from a man and a woman that just entered a bar, the woman being the same one that Calyx was talking with earlier. Calyx goes on to share some drinks while Olivia finds the name of the two people. The girl, Francesca Invidious, mentions that her family and the Kintaras have a lot in common, but her brother Florian tries to hush her up. Olivia interrupts them then, saying that they are interfering with her investigation. Calyx walks away as they apologize, and here's the thing. I just have a hard time believing this whole scene. Why would a magister just let a person she is investigating walk away in this scene but not talk to the other people at the bar? How are they interfering? I just feel like this brings up a whole bunch of red flags that if I were Francesca or Florian, I would just be like, okay, something is wrong here. It just doesn't feel natural. But yeah, Francesca slips away to talk to Calyx. She goes on to suggest an alliance as both are working for the Venatori. Florian, in trying to save his family name, tries to make a deal with Olivia so that they are not investigated, and as they walk outside, find Francesca giving Calyx a stone, which means that Calyx has won the bet. Olivia mentions that he should demonstrate with it, which he can't because he's not actually a mage. But he quickly panics and calls out Olivia as a fraud, to which she calls him out one as well. Florian calls for the guards, Autumn comes to protect Olivia, but then the three of them run away when magic is blasted towards them. And as they run away into an alleyway, thanks to a suggestion by Autumn, they are found by Sir Aaron, who calls Olivia by her name, which is actually the first time we hear it, and says that he can help them, if they help him in return. Issue 2. Denerim about 7 years ago, which would make it about 935 Dragon, which is either a year after Hawk defeated the Arishok, or maybe just a bit about before. We're not quite sure on the timetable of when this comic happens. But anyway, Sir Aaron is asking around the Denerim market for a girl named Elena. A man tells him that Elena isn't who she says she is, but that she is a con artist. In the present, Dorian tells Florian that he will deal with the con artist. Aaron tells the pair that he can make their problems go away if they agree to help. Vea needs to get something from the Kintara estate, but she needs more information to work on. He wants the two of them to work together to get floor plans of the estate. Olivia then asks what would happen if they don't agree, to which Aaron says that Dorian will turn them into Florian. So they agree and take a back entrance into the bar. While talking, they realize that the estate was made a landmark to the city and that there should be floor plans in the official city records, and Olivia makes a plan to use Calyx's disguise to talk their way in there. Calyx is unsure, but Olivia thinks it could work. He goes on to get more drinks, but two people in black clothing stop him, saying that they overheard his conversation and that they believe they can help. We cut to Aaron and Vea, who comments that he has stopped drinking since Darkhaven. She asks him who Olivia is, and he tells her that he has only fallen in love once, but he was a drunken fool. Vea cracks a joke that he isn't a drunk anymore, and he smiles. We cut to Florian and his sister's estate. He's upset that the stone she gave to Calyx is gone, and she insists that Dorian will get it back to them. He yells at her that her foolishness is why he and their father kept her out of their work with the Venatori, and when she explains that she was just trying to help, he apologizes to her. Anyone could have been fooled by Calyx, but he is going to retrieve that orb on his own and kill them both. Calyx comes back to Olivia saying that he has a distraction to get them into the vault. Olivia questions the people he was talking with, and he explains that they just asked him to get a ledger while he was in there. Olivia questions what kind of distraction they will do and worries someone's going to get killed. She goes to talk to the pair, and from their accent, guesses that they are Antivan crows. She tells them that whatever they do, don't kill anyone, with Sir Aaron looking very ominous in the background. Which, these are trained killers, and they later kill a mage on their own, so what is one knight to two trained assassins? But anyway, they agree, and the man complains that this is what they get for working with amateurs, and the woman comments that she likes her. Walking away, Aaron confronts her, saying that he knew she had morals. She is surprised to find that he heard the entire thing, and he pets Autumn, saying that he's proud of her. We cut to 7 years ago with Aaron talking to the man, who we find is actually Sim Coldroy from Dragon Age Origins. Slim tells him that Olivia steals things from nobles, and then he acts as a fence for her, which he then sells and helps feed the poor. She had sold him an amulet recently, and only after paying for it did he realize that it was actually Sir Aaron's, the landless knight. He gives it back to Aaron just as King Alistair finds him, wondering if everything's alright with Aaron. He covers for Slim, saying that it was just an honest merchant, and Alistair would know who Slim was? You meet him in Dragon Age Origins. This shouldn't be a surprise. Alistair and Slim have probably met each other. But whatever. King Alistair leaves with Slim telling Aaron that he respects him and that if he does find Olivia again, tell her that she is dead to Slim. In the present, Aaron tells Olivia that she worked for Slim for years and knew that he would give Aaron back the amulet. And here, I was actually originally torn on what happened in Olivia's mind. She does go on to say that she did it on purpose, and in forum posts by the writers, they do confirm that Olivia did it on purpose, but I almost want to say that you can actually really read into it that this conflicted look means that she actually didn't, and then she just lies to Aaron. And I kind of like that better. That, like, she really was kind of a shithead, and then Sir Aaron helped her be a better person. I find that a lot more interesting than just she knew she was good the entire time, but rather than someone had faith in her for once and she lived up to those expectations. But anyway, we cut to the outer gates of the city where two guards wait for the patrol that they know is not coming back. After thinking for a bit, they run. The crows are watching and mention that the city is probably going to be doomed, but they could probably use that to their advantage. Calyx and Olivia march to the vault and talk to a worker there, asking to see their family holdings. The man, a person who actually shared drinks with Calyx last night, asks to see the family key. Meanwhile, the crows have been spreading rumors of the Canary coming ever closer, and panic starts to set in. A crowd starts to form outside of the vault, saying that they want in so they can collect their money and flee the city. The workers take Calyx and Olivia in so that the common people don't bother them. Inside, they eventually talk to a young woman, and they just lie their way into the vault, using the chaos as an explanation as to why they don't have the key. We then cut to Autumn delivering a letter to the crows, right as Florian finds them. He yells out that he needs to find the con artists or he will expose them as common criminals. The woman states that they are not criminals, they are crows. The group examines the floor plan with Aaron thanking Olivia. He tells them that the rumors are actually true. Canary are closing in on the city and leaving's going to be hard for them. But if they stick with Aaron, they will be safe. He and Vea then leave to plan. So Calyx and Olivia are drinking alone, talking about their con. She goes on to say that Olivia Pride is actually her real name, and Calyx says that his is actually Calyx. But he used to be a slave, and when his master died after the Venatori were defeated, he ran off rather than be sold. He was a slave that was taught to read and write, so he tried to make a living off of it, running to Ventus and slapping the Gintara name on him. Olivia tells him that she's actually impressed, and the two share a kiss, which then leads to Olivia leading him upstairs and Autumn and Aaron watching in horror from below. Aaron then asks for an ale. We then cut to Francesca, who is looking for her brother, who didn't actually come home that night. Eventually, she finds his body in an alleyway, saying that she will make the con artist pay. Issue 3. Vea overhears Aaron drunken apologies and goes to investigate. She pulls him away and asks why he started drinking again, but he dismisses her, saying that he has been a drunk for a while and can't change overnight, and perhaps that Vea herself isn't enough a reason to change, which upsets her greatly. Olivia wakes up with Calyx, who mentions that his time with her was life-altering, but she tells him that she isn't one to stick around and leaves, seeing a drunken Aaron and Autumn, who seems upset at her. The next morning, Calyx sits next to Vea for breakfast. Vea is sarcastic to him, knowing about his time with Olivia. He asks about her relationship with Aaron, but she tells him he's a mentor, nothing more. She then asks to stay quiet for the rest of the meal, and then he just tries to kiss her? What? Why? This is out of nowhere for me. This could be cut out, I think. But anyway, Vea has the correct reaction by pushing him away, but Dorian interrupts them, saying that the Canari are coming closer and they need to hurry it up. Olivia checks in on Aaron, who is upset that she led on Calyx, and she doesn't have to live up to his ideals of her. Vea walks in there with Calyx telling the news. She wants to split ways due to the drama, but Aaron states that they should stay together so that he can protect them all. Outside the Kintara home, Vea hops in a window as Francesca watches from afar. She goes to the front gate, warning the estate that they have intruders. The gates of Ventus explode then, with Canari warriors pouring in. Dorian looks from afar, saying that Aaron is on his own and he has to leave. Vea tells him that she will have to find the red lyrium and for the rest of them to stay put. Aaron tells her to be careful, but she walks off. The three of them overhear Francesca then, telling a servant that intruders killed their brother. Olivia and Calyx are confused, but realize that he was killed by the crows, and Olivia takes the blame for trusting them, as you can't ask people to change into something they're not. Meanwhile, the servant Augusto and Francesca walk in the halls with the servant saying that the Magister will not take guests, but she's not really hearing any of it. The Magister overhears and tells him to let her in. He explains that she interrupted his studies and that she needs to leave. But she is stubborn and pulls down his hood, to which she finds the Magister is an elf, and that he is an imposter. The man, whose name is Gaius, explains that Magister Kintara died years ago with no heirs, and that he was his valet. For the last years of his life, he had become a hermit, so it was really easy to become him. When she questions how he can work magic without being a mage, he mentions that it's really just tricks of a light so that he can live in peace. When Francesca asks why do all of this, he explains that the Magister still receives important communications and that his true master needs all of the info on the Shemlin/human world. Augusto knocks her out then, with Gaius telling her that the secret must be kept safe. Vea walks into the state vault to find it empty. She's upset. Gaius goes to painlessly kill the girl, but is stopped by her heroes. Gaius takes off as Calyx tries to help Francesca and... Wait. Yo? Is Yo canon slang in Dragon Age now? I mean, I don't know why I'm complaining. I use it all the time. I just didn't expect that. Anyway, Vea is able to stop Gaius, saying that the red lyrium is no longer in the home. Gaius explains that it wasn't really red lyrium, but rather a weapon from Kirkwall imbued with red lyrium, and they traded it away for information. Vea asks where it is, and he says Castellum Tenebris, or the Fortress of Hastinarius. Vea mentions that it looks like they need to make another stop when the Canari break in, looking for the Magister. Gaius makes a run for it while the others scramble to escape. He tries to tell the Canari that the Magister is in the back, but then he's killed. The rest of the group hides in a costume closet that belongs to Gaius, and they worry that they are trapped. There are too many to fight. Not all of them can make it. But Olivia pipes up that maybe the one who doesn't make it can clear the way for the others. She means to confront them. Calyx says it's crazy, but she says that they are looking for a Magister and don't know what they look like. The others agree to the plan, except for Calyx. She tells him he should go because he has potential, but she doesn't really care for him. Aaron kisses her on the forehead, telling her that she is a good woman, with Olivia replying that she isn't, but she can play one. They all leave the room save for Autumn. Olivia takes off her wig and hugs the dog goodbye. Whoever she has to be for the others, Autumn is the only one who sees her for who she really is. Olivia tells Autumn to stay with Calyx and keep him safe, and the pup leaves. Now you should also recognize this room as the one that Olivia is in at the start of the first issue. Fun facts. Olivia confronts the Canari using her prop staff to mimic magic, giving the others a chance to run, with Calyx hearing that she's down and that they need to make certain of her death, which, side note, in a very serious moment, this is supposed to be in Cunlot, so either he understands Cunlot or he just hears a lack of fighting and assumes. But the group escape to a rooftop to find the city on fire. Calyx wonders if she could still be alive, but they are met with Dorian, who I thought left, but okay. He tells them that Marius and Tessa have cleared a path to safety for them, and Dorian will try to help get as many people as possible. Which I will say that Dorian's going to be fine. He's not going to get hurt. He's just being heroic here. Anyway, safe in a clearing with the horses left for them, Sir Aaron takes a moment. Vea tells him that he was right about her, but he questions if he pushed her to do it. He looks at the medal she stole all those years ago and he apologizes to Vea. He looks at the world in black and white, drunks and those who can stop drinking, but the world is made of gray and it's going to take a while. Vea says that everyone can change and that she is there for him, and the two ride off. Meanwhile, Calyx and Autumn watch Ventus burn, with him apologizing that the pup is stuck with him. Francesca laments that she just wanted to unite her house with the Cantaras, but now her brother and her home are gone. Calyx says that her brother's death wasn't him, and she mostly agrees. She then says that she has nothing now, and Calyx mentions that she can ride with them if she wishes. Francesca questions the offer, saying that she hates him and doesn't know his real name, but he tells her that his real name is Gaius Pride. Whoa! Dude, I'm so touched right now. Talking points. In the Dragon Age universe, yellow eyes have been a sign of working for or having some connection with Mythal so far, so it comes as a bit of surprise that both Olivia and Gaius has yellow eyes. What connection could they possibly have? And honestly, I think the real answer is just the boring old, they just have yellow eyes. There's no real meaning behind it. While we have no answers for Olivia, there are no hints that she was part of something bigger, and she is confirmed to be dead. As for Gaius, one of the writers would post that the color was up to the artist, and as in some panels they looked almost red, he said that he wasn't opposed to them being warped by the red lyrium he was working on, even though, I don't know, red lyrium doesn't really turn your eyes that red, but whatever. It's a nice idea, I don't mind it. So you may remember the name Canarius from previous games, as it has been mentioned before. So why change the name? Well, Patrick's Weeks mentions that it was changed because people kept confusing Quinarius with Canary, so it was changed. And who were these people? This must have honestly been something on the Dragon Age team, as I have never seen fans mix up the two words. Not that the name change is bad, they do kind of have an in-lore explanation that the name was changed about 10 years ago, but it's just, I don't know, that's an odd one for me, whatever, I guess. Something that caught my eye was at the very start of the series, Dorian and Aaron are talking about who can complete the mission. Aaron asks if there isn't some man from Deventer who can do all this, and Dorian mentions that there is, but he's a wanted man and can't do it. Who is this man? Well, we aren't really sure. At a guess, Marius does fit the description, as he is possibly still wanted by the Archon. But maybe it's somebody else. Maybe it's someone we're missing in the future. We don't know. The guards of the city in this comic were all wearing Venatori stalker armor, so the question is, are the Venatori using old guard armor, or is the city of Ventus using Venatori for the guards? I kind of doubt it's the latter, as that would surely be something that Dorian or the others would mention, but in these comics, the guard armor looks like the Venatori armor, then that does disprove my belief that the soldiers in Knight Errant were Venatori. And while I still believe that they are meant to be Venatori, it seems that just by their armor alone isn't proof enough. The two unnamed crows are interesting to me, as it almost seems to set them up in a way that they can come back, perhaps. They are given just enough of a personality from the times we see them that I want to know more about them. What was the ledger they were after for? What was their goal? Who are they? I have a lot of questions about them. Something that confused me is that Aaron and Dorian seem to be the one to plan the entire thing. Remember that Sir Aaron isn't really a part of the Inquisition, that we know of at least. Vea is. So I would have thought that she would have been the one to connect to Dorian and talk about these things. If you read the comic, then you're probably wondering where I got the name Gaius from, because it's not actually mentioned anywhere in the comics. Well, it was revealed in a forum post by one half of the writing duo, along with a few other facts about him. So let's talk about that. A lot of fans were actually skeptical that he would be working for Fen'Harel, as he calls him Master, something that we know Solus would absolutely hate. In the post, they confirm that he is working for Solus, but Gaius has never actually met him or know much about him. Rather, Gaius was working for an agent of his. Gaius had been a slave his entire life, so that's why he calls him Master, because he just doesn't know any better. As why Solus would agree to trade away the weapon, he didn't. Gaius was told to gather information, and when he got a mysterious weapon, he didn't know what he had, and only saw it as a way to gather information, so it was traded. That being said, we don't actually know what information he was looking for and gathered, other than it was about humans. For those of you who are watching this far off into the future, the timing of this last issue was honestly spectacular. Just a few days before the last issue was released, a teaser for the 4th Dragon Age came out, highlighting the mysterious red lyrium idol for the second game. That same idol would later become a sword used by Meredith in the late stages of Dragon Age 2. So when the last issue came out mentioning that a weapon imbued with red lyrium from Kirkwall was in play, the fandom collectively lost their shit. Or at least I did. Maybe it was just me. Now, to be fair, we aren't 100% sure that this weapon that Gaius talks about is the idol sword. In Inquisition, you can get weapons made out of red lyrium that isn't the sword. And the idol sword does explode at the end of Dragon Age 2, even though it does sort of reappear in Inquisition, but that's a whole nother story. Gaius also talks about the weapon being imbued with red lyrium, while Meredith says her sword is pure lyrium. Granted, both could actually be true, as the sword could be part lyrium and part red lyrium, which would make both statements true. But even if this is retconned, I wouldn't really mind it. There doesn't seem like enough material in the idol to make the sword it became, so it being imbued with red lyrium makes just a lot more sense, actually. I will also say that in forum posts, it is mentioned that they have set up this weapon in the first issue of Knight Errant. While it could mean that in Knight Errant they do set up the quest to go to Ventus and collect the red lyrium shard, it could also be the fact that when Vea gets closer to the red lyrium statue of Meredith, she purposely acknowledges that she's empty-handed and wonders where the weapon is. So for the moment, I honestly believe that this is going to be the idol sword. Now, another important factor in all of this is that it was traded to House Daenerys. That name should probably ring a bell, as it was the name of Fenris's old master, who is probably dead. I don't know how they're going to handle that in BioWare canon. But in Dragon Age 2, I honestly thought it was his first name, but I guess I was wrong in Daenerys' family name. Anyway, could we be seeing some Fenris in the future? Who knows? This is something so small and silly, but it bothers me that all the Qunari have these weird bumps on their shoulders. No other Qunari has this. What is going on here? They don't look like shoulder pads. Huh? What is this? This is all, like, I think must be an artist thing, because they got these weird bumps. The elves have, like, goat eyes. I have questions from this artist, to be honest. He's a fine artist, I'm sure. I just have some artistic design questions that's messing us up. So I'm gonna just be blunt here. I hated Olivia and Calyx. Well, part of this was because they felt really dumb, which, at least for Calyx, that was kind of the point of his character. I hate that. I also really disliked Olivia's treatment of Aaron and Calyx's treatment of Vea. And since I really like Aaron and Vea, of course I wouldn't like Olivia and Calyx. It's like they set it up like that. I don't know. I guess I almost felt torn on how to feel, because the comic keeps showing you the two's awful actions and behavior, and then at the end wants you to feel positive emotions for Olivia saving the others and Calyx taking her name. Like, great, Olivia became a more neutral figure because she did something decent for a change, and Calyx is still an idiot. I am truly shook. Autumn was honestly the best new character of this whole comic, and her relationship with Olivia was the best part of Olivia. The scene where she takes off her wig to say goodbye to her dog was probably the most interesting thing about her, that only her pet was able to see who she really was. That I cared about. I was only slightly upset at her death because now Autumn was sad and is stuck with Calyx. I'm also a bit upset that Aaron and Vea didn't get to keep Autumn. I know they wanted to set up that Calyx was taking on Olivia's legacy, but he just doesn't deserve the puppy. Also, fun facts, Adam is based on the writer's dog, Autumn, who looks just like a precious little puppy. Oh, she's so cute. So, my overall thoughts on this comic. I have to say this comic was rough around the edges. Issue 1 was honestly just sloppy and really hard for me to take seriously. 2 got better and 3rd was actually good. All the best parts of this run came in the 3rd issue. A part of me wonders if this was originally going to be 5 issues like the others, but they had to edit it down for whatever reason, so the first issue just felt really forced and rushed. Now, I would still rate this as better than Mage Killer, because Mage Killer just felt like rambling and had no purpose. But I was pretty happy for this to be over. I'm still excited to see where the series leads, but if we ever see Calyx again, it would just be too soon. Autumn, though, would be a welcome face, which I guess is why they had to have Autumn go with Calyx, so that if he shows up, we have something to look forward to. So as a quick aside, one of the writers for the comics, Nunzio De Philippis, is pretty active online to talk about the comics, which, as a content creator who was both positive and critical of his work, this is both great and extremely horrifying. I don't mean to, like, shit on this thing you worked really hard on, but I'm just saying my true feelings, my dear. I'm sorry. I've gone over a few of the things he has mentioned about the series so far, but here are a few other interesting tidbits that he's talked about that doesn't seem to fit in any of the discussion above, just in random order. They originally wanted to kill off a small, already established character who has been mostly abandoned, but BioWare passed on it. We don't know who the character was, but he mentions that it was a companion-level character who did a bad thing, saw the error of their ways, and then died. Vea and Sir Aaron were originally tabletop NPCs that they had made for their own personal campaign, although they were a bit different on how they are now. Nunzio was asked how Vea would react to various NPCs in the series, and he mentions that he really wants her to meet Fenris and withheld any comments about it in hopes of for a future where she does. He got to send photos of people to the artist during the character design phase, and he shared a few of the people he based the characters off of. Vea was supposed to originally look like Freema, a gayman, I believe is pronounced, and while her comic character doesn't look much like her, he still imagines her voice as Vea. Sir Aaron in their tabletop campaign was based on Nathan Fillion, and while Sir Aaron is a lot older now, he still imagines his voice. Christina Weir, the other writer, imagines him as Colin Wilkinson, the original Jean Valjean from the musical Les Miserables. Olivia would be voiced by Diane Lane, and Calyx is based on Sean Teal, but goofier. He talks about Vea's uncle's Valislin, and how they didn't really say to the artist which one he had, but there is another character that he can't really talk about whose Valislin does matter. Now there was some leaked images of an unknown Dalish character, Dalish looking character, we don't really know who this is with Valislin, so I'm thinking this is who he's talking about. And finally, on Twitter, it was revealed that the comic writers had almost full control of designing the fates of the comic characters. So, while I honestly did believe that this comic was setting up companions for the next game, with that fact and that he talks about how he doesn't know if they will or will not appear in the game, makes me think that the comic characters are going to stay in the comics. They're not going to be the games, these are not our companions. Which does sort of suck because I wanted to make an old lady PC adopt Vea and make Sir Aaron happy. And that, dear patrons, is all that we know on the latest Dragon Age comic, and the second best Mabari. Do you still have lingering questions, proof that I'm wrong, comments about your own fan theory? Feel free to tweet me at Gildathon on Twitter or send a PM to Gillanon on Reddit. The rest are all.